our journey has started in 1498, and more or less we have covered about 300 plus years. So now, in the last class, we had talked in a brief. I had given you a sequences, historical events, which ultimately led to the 1857 revolts. There is a difference between rebellion and revolt. You understand it? Rebellions are sporadic. जहां था rebellion, उपद्रव. They are not united, not so strong, and not so spread. And their root causes of different revolts at different times, at different places, by different persons or different population differs from place to place. But more or less, results are the same. Rebels are silenced. उनकी आवाज को दबाया जाता है. और they are crushed. Ruthlessly, a rebellion is crushed. बूट से उसको कुचल दिया जाता है. The results are same, but the causes, leaders, times are different. But the oppressors or suppressors were the same. Mostly British. I used the word mostly. It means 100% Britishers, not 5%, 10%. The landlords, Indian landlords, were also torturing the poor population. So the word almost. And they were also landlords, zamindars. They were also oppressing the peasants, farmers, on the instructions of Britishers. Correct? So, a revolt is fought. So, 1857 revolt, it is taken as a first freedom struggle of India. But people of different views disagree. Some historians say no, it was just a Sipahi mutiny, Sipahi Vidroh tha. And this was also not spread throughout India. So national character up till now was not grown. We are Indian nationals, जिस पर हमें गर्व है. ये स्थिति उस समय नहीं थी. एक नेशनल कैरेक्टर, राष्ट्रवाद की परिकल्पना और भावना जो आज है वो उस समय नहीं थी। लेकिन लोग छटपटा रहे थे। 200-300 साल से अपना दमन, उनको सहने की क्षमता अब जवाब दे चुकी थी। तो अब लोग मरने मरने पर उतारू हो चुके थे। When we are to die, then why not to die after killing somebody? ये जज्बा पैदा हो गया था 1857 आते आते। इसलिए मैंने क्या कहा, द रिवोल्ट्स ऑफ 4 कैटेगरीज, फार्मर्स मूवमेंट, civilian movements, tribal movements, and military movements, bracket mutiny. These all occurred at different places at different times before 1857. It means India was rising, but not completely. And national character started germinating, right? We have dealt with we have dealt with the mainly 4 categories, of rebellions or rebels prior to 1857. In different parts of India, comma, with different causes, which at different times led by, of course, different leaders. But the results were almost same. Next paragraph. We have talked about civil movements or civilian uprisings, comma, tribal movements, comma, farmers or peasants agitation, and lastly, military or army mutinies. Next paragraph. These all gave birth to feeling of a national character or Indian nationality slowly but firmly seeds of national character grown on oblique put on the soil of unsatisfaction or displeasure on the soil of unsatisfaction or displeasure, comma, nourished by the sweat and blood of the population, and aired by the suffered community or population were growing and now they have grown to such stage that they were now to produce the fruits of discontent against British Empire, and that fruit was seen as a revolt of 1857. How do you feel? How do you feel? The people who have understood, they are smiling. जिन्होंने समझा है इस अंग्रेजी को, ये इंग्लिश बीपीएससी की इंग्लिश नहीं है, जिन्होंने इसको समझा, मैंने कोशिश किया है बहुत सिंपल होने का, बहुत हार्ड हमने यूज नहीं किया है, लेकिन वो बूंद बूंद से स्कैल्पेल से उठा उठा के हीरा के जैसे वर्ड्स को मैंने रखा है। अगर आप हिंदी में समझ गए हो तो हिंदी में मैं समझाऊंगा नहीं, आपने समझ गए कि नहीं? जमीन किसकी, पटाया कौन उसको, हवा कौन दिया उसको, ये वातावरण कौन दिया, और फल क्या निकला, राइट? मेरे हिसाब से मुझको इससे प्यार है। Only when in mains examination the examiner reads, he is not bound to read. You press paragraph. This mighty uprising, mighty में ताकतवर होता है, against might, due to plight of the population, due to plight of the population, spread in many parts of northern and central India. Northern and central India. ज्वालामुखी को क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में, इंग्लिश में? Like a, it erupted like a volcano. Actually, the British Empire for some times was feeling, facing, but were not expecting this type of a movement. Rather, more or less, a national type of movement. It was the most significant movement of resistance against European colonial rule. If you have got red pen, you change the paragraph and give a bold letters. Cause. लाल कलम हटा दो. If we talk in general terms, there were many causes. And mostly they were interrelated and in fact to a greater extent their results were same. Now write with the red economic causes. The complete destruction of traditional economic structure took place under East India Company. The Britishers favored the British traders mostly rural handicraft as well as raw materials from a handloom industry all were destroyed. The raw materials actually did not face destruction. They were exported from India and the cloths made from these Indian raw materials, especially raw cotton, were sent in India or imported, and through this indirect route they looted India and Indian artisans were completely rooted, R-O-O-T-E-D, rooted out from the ground. From the ground. And the glooming poverty covered the population. So, this economic drain of Indian wealth was seen by Dada Bhai Nauroji and felt by Indians. Dada Bhai Nauroji, the grand old man of India, wrote a book about economic drain, the book is named as well as famed, FAMED, as British Unrule in India. British Unrule in India. So in this way, two major sectors of Indian economy, agriculture and industry, got shattered. This led to periodic increase of tax burden on the Indians. And large number of traditional zamindars and chiefs lost their possessions. Now again, this is economic cause. Now leave 2 to 3, 4 lines and write, give a heading, political causes. Political causes. Actually, Britishers used unjustified political wage to establish effective control over Indian native states or riyasats. This was disliked. By Indians. As for example, Lord Wellesley started subsidiary alliance Lord Dalhousie started doctrine of lapse the Britishers used this most convenient tool या most convenient method, for the extinction of Indian states. Indian states. और लाल से लिखो. But annexation of Awadh was unique. It was annexed on grounds of misgovernance. And it created, annexation of Awadh created panic among rulers of Indian states, native states. And this damaged the political image of British. These actions, लाल हटा दो. These actions also angered the company. These actions also angered the companies, apostrophe S, companies, sepoys, sipahi, and most of them had come from Awadh. Now we will deal political causes. Now we will deal political causes in following three subheadings. First, subsidiary alliance. Second, doctrine of lapse. दो ही कॉज है, subsidiary alliance, and now we'll deal with subsidiary alliance. It was also introduced by Lord Wellesley in and after 1798. वाह, बहुत बढ़िया. The British, under the subsidiary alliance system, British under the subsidiary alliance system agreed to protect the Indian rulers against external threats and internal disorder or internal disturbance. But in return, the Indian rulers who accepted this subsidiary alliance system were to agree to give station or allowed the British forces to live in their states or riyasats and their maintenance was to be paid to British by the riyasat or states. Then this payment was called subsidy. This payment was called subsidy. And that ruler who became part of this subsidiary alliance now was not allowed to do any other alliance, with any other power. Nor that ruler of a riyasat or state could not fight a war without prior permission from the British. And now, and ultimately, a British resident was stationed to see or monitor the affairs of that state. अब लाल से and British resident had to interfere in state politics. Next para and continue with red. This system suited best to British because they were not spending a single money, but they were not spending a single money. On the other hand, the British forces were stationed in that area and were maintained by the ruled state. The Nizam of Hyderabad, the Nizam of Hyderabad was first to enter into a subsidy alliance with English in 1798. This system enabled the English to get the advantage of foreign influence from the Indian courts. Now, your hands and fingers. Of lapse. Doctrine of lapse. It was an annexation policy introduced and produced by British. Its misuse by Lord Dalhousie is well known. The ruler of any Indian state died with died without a natural male heir, HEIR, if the ruler of Indian state died without a natural male heir, the state went to the British and ruler was not allowed to adopt a successor. The company, that's East India Company, took over the princely estates of Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Nagpur, and Jhansi, using this doctrine of lapse system. We have dealt about. In political causes, we read about subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. Now see, third, socio-religious causes. Socio-religious causes. Rulers. The British rule deprived India of their traditional leaders, that is zamindars, or talukedars, who were dispossessed by British. Now, actually, these zamindars generally and naturally acted as father figure in the village society. So they got respect in the society. The Britishers produced new zamindars or a new class who generally and hardly belong to the village community. Several humanitarian measures were taken by the government. Abolition of sati, infanticide, validation of widow marriage, widow remarriage, were seen as undesirable influence by foreign Christian governments and their unwanted, uncalled interference in religion and customs as well. लाल से लिखो अब. The suspicion that British were trying to convert Indians, the British were trying to convert Indians to Christianity was very widely seen, felt and prevalent in the society. Following where the landmark rules or pronouncements at different times. Definitely, now maybe temporarily, maybe by a very few British monarchs, but definitely they were seeing and planning to see India and make India as a welfare state. As a welfare state. First, 1829, abolition of sati by Lord William Bentinck. Abolition of sati by Lord William Bentinck under regulation 17th. Second, abolition of slavery. Third, enactment of widow remarriage, which approved a remarriage of Hindu widows. एक रेस्ट, इसको हिंदी में हम लोग समझ लें. एक बात समझ लीजिए, कोई भी मनुष्य